what's up? This is Marwan. I am near the Ottawa Canal, and what I want to talk about today is the unstable path to self-mastery and why it's simpler and harder than you think. So, what do I mean by that? The reason why I want to talk about this is because usually when people think about the path to self-mastery, when you're mastering a particular skill set, they usually think it's sort of like an upwards curve. That it's basically it's like the more you practice, the better you're gonna get at it. And in a lot of ways, it is actually pretty much like that. But there's this entire part of it that people don't tend to discuss, and that's the bumps in the road, the frustrations that you'll face as you get better at a particular skill set. So usually I would describe the curve not necessarily as an upwards curve, like the more you practice, the better you get at it. But it's more of it's sort of an upwards curve, but it's kind of bumpy. It's kind of like a bumpy curve that goes up and down. So you are getting better at it the more practice you put into a particular skill set, whether it's playing guitar, making music, making even videos like this, whatever it is. But at the same time, I've noticed that whenever I kind of get to that cusp of that next level, where I know I'm gonna hit that next level, I become more critical of my work. So instead of kind of taking that newbie route of how like essentially like if you take into making videos, maybe if you kind of did it similar to me, or if you're planning on doing it similar to me, what you're gonna do in the beginning, or what I did in the beginning, is I just kept making videos, recording them, and if I felt like this is pretty much good enough, I would put it out there. Now, the thing is, as I put out more videos and as I kind of have my own way of kind of looking at whether or not a particular video is good enough, that would go up every time I'd put up a video. And I'd become more critical of my own work. Once you get to that point where you feel like you're about to hit that next level in your skill set, or if I feel like I'm about to hit that level of my video production or video qualities are getting a little bit better, or they're about to hit that next level, I'm gonna start being more critical of my work. Now, the problem here is you might become a little bit too critical to the point that you feel too frustrated, and you feel like to an extent you're getting even worse than better. And that can feel very frustrating, and to a lot of people they might think like, oh, they got so much momentum initially of whether it's putting out music or practicing guitar, making designs, whatever it is that you want to do. You might feel like that you're getting better really fast initially, but then in order for you to hit that next level, you're gonna feel like you have to be a lot more critical. But by being more critical, you might not be. You're gonna have to find that kind of balance between being critical enough, but at the same time knowing when it's good enough. Knowing that, okay, yeah, sure, you can make some improvements here, some improvements there, but you know what, this is good enough. It's time to move forward. It's time to move on to the next thing. And now this can be a little bit daunting and maybe even confusing to some people. I know for me, it was a little bit frustrating to kind of see that, like, I know I can do better. I know how I have a particular quality that I want to adhere to, but at the same time, I want to be able to put them out every week, and I want to be able to kind of adhere to I want to be able to meet my own deadlines and always have something to show, instead of just kind of being like, oh, unless I think it's perfect, I'm not going to put it out there. Now, being a perfectionist is, if you ever have gone to job interviews, they usually ask you, what's your weakest point? And you, like a lot of people say like, oh, I'm too much of a perfectionist. Yeah, haven't heard that one before. A lot of people say that, and a lot of people like to think of themselves as perfectionists. And the problem is, if you're going to be too much of a perfectionist, you're not going to put out anything. So, because essentially whatever it is that you're working on, it can never really be perfect. You can always think of new ways to improve it. So if you're always thinking of new ways to improve it, then you're never gonna put it out there, and you're gonna be kind of like stuck instead of being able to improve and actually like overcome your obstacles and going through that route of being better every single time. The ideal point that you want to hit is you're always learning so that you're not feeling stagnant, but at the same time you're always critical enough of your work that you know when it's good enough to put out there, but at the same time being critical enough that you know what to improve for the next time that you do whatever it is that you want to do. On your journey to self-mastery, and as you get better at your particular skill set, you might hit that point of being stagnant. Now, what you have to understand is you have to learn to trust yourself. You have to be able to not just trust yourself, but also trust in the process of learning. Trust in the process of self-mastery, and that the more you do something, the more you learn about it, the better you're gonna get at it. And don't forget to take notes or do whatever it is that you need to do. Put it out there, get feedback from other people, get feedback from your friends, get feedback from strangers. Figure out really what works for you and what doesn't. And over time, you'll be able to really find your own voice, whether that's in your art, your creativity, your music, whatever it is that you want to do. Over time, the more you do it, you'll be able to actually hit that next level, and you might be able to actually hit that levels or surpass yourself in significant ways without even realizing it. And you're kind of, once you look back at the work that you used to do, you were kind of thinking, wow, like I've actually gotten a lot better, and you didn't even notice it because you're so focused on improving yourself in the present moment instead of kind of looking at the past and looking at your work and thinking, oh, that wasn't good enough, I'm not going to put it out there. Instead of thinking too much in the past, you're thinking more forwards and thinking about, okay, how can I improve the next one? Understand that if you trust the process of learning, if you trust the process to self-mastery, you will inevitably get better. And on that note, until next time.